I'm Liam.
I'm Wayne,
You're listening to In Film We Trust YouTube.
a place where we post clips from our recent episode.
All links down below in the description.
And now, on with the show.
Wow, what a film to get started on your like motion picture career.
Yeah, well, because when I was reading, Sarnoski's, he just kept getting this image, didn't he? Basic image of an old man and a pig in the woods.
Like
an old man
you do.
and a pig in the woods. And from there, it kind of gestated into the film we're talking about.
Basically what it is now, yeah, because it started shooting in about September 2019, so look, it was before pandemic stuff, and it only took 20 days to shoot.
20 days?
And you think, wow, he must have been like the most efficient director kind of thing, but basically the reason is they had a very small budget. It was $4 million. They didn't
was
really,
it $4 million?
$4 million. They didn't really have money for reshoots or doing any retakes.
No.
They had to get it right then. It was like when Christopher Nolan did Following. He had his actors, like they did here, he had them rehearse over and over and over again, so they didn't have to do as many reshoots.
Yeah, so when they're actually on set, they know what they're doing.
So they've done this a bunch. It'd be like a theatre actor who's done the same part over and over again.
They can go from shot to shot to shot without having to keep going over it.
Yes, they've done this a whole bunch of times before.
I'm talking of the budget. They couldn't even afford a trained pig, could they?
No, they couldn't. The pig had
3 days of
3 days
training.
of training, and it bit Cage several times as well.
Oh, no.
Cage is quoted as saying, quote, "I've been set on fire, I've been in flipped cars, but it'll be sepsis from a pig bite that kills me."
I think he was all right, though.
Yeah, let's be honest, though. That's if Cage went that way, would you be surprised?
No.
But the pig had 3 days on, only 3 days of training because they couldn't. Where would you get a trained pig? Fair enough, a trained dog. Where would you get a trained pig?
Is there much in the way of training a pig?
How many famous pigs can you think of in movies? Babe, Gordy.
Who's Gordy?
I think that was like a Babe. It was like one of the situations where they come at the same time. But so Cage had, like I say, he got bit by a pig, and I was reading a Variety interview, and he was talking about this film because we're talking now about a guy again, been through all these memes, a lot of bad movies, a lot of wacky performances, and he's kind of come down to a level now. He said Cage said he'd left Hollywood and he'd gone into my own wilderness, which very much plays into...
Yeah, well, as well with Cage, he actually refers to this film, or the character in the film, as the most like himself out of any film he's done.
He said the same about Joe as well. Yeah. Did you ever see Joe? Joe was a fantastic film.
Yeah, it looked a good one as well.
Again, the very similar kind of very earthy, gritty movie. Not like Mad Cage overacting, very earthy performance.
No, kind of, it's dialed down, and he's doing a very subtle, nuanced performance.
He is, yeah, because he said that he felt... This made sense. He felt weighed down by audience expectations, box office expectations, studio executives, things like that. Because I guess it'd be like when Arnold Schwarzenegger hit his ceiling. They didn't want him to do comedy; they wanted him to do action films because that's what he was making money on. So I think Cage felt they weren't giving him a chance to do these kind of things he wanted to do.
Yeah, they were limiting his range.
Again, like when you start making big money in blockbusters, it's kind of risky to go to do
smaller films because I suppose because your cachet goes down and when your box office returns are so much smaller and diminished, the producers are like, oh, well, he's not bringing in the money he was in the prior films.
Yeah. But Nicolas Cage has that talent, like a performer like Philip Seymour Hoffman or Julianne Moore, to bounce back and forth between big blockbusters and those little indie films.
And like we were on about Bruce Willis, I think it's the actual, for longevity, it's the more sustainable.
Yeah.
Because like Bruce Willis has clearly hit a wall, hasn't he?
Because with these movies, he can turn up on set. He can do about 3 days worth of shooting and get like $1 million for it.
And let's be honest, cheap action films are literally just made for video on demand, aren't they?
They are. Like a lot of these recent ones I've seen, they look like, someone said they look like they're filmed in just like they're supposed to be taking place on a spaceship, but they look like they're filmed in a lit warehouse. And what he said about Cage with this film, he said, they'd put a camera on you and photograph you and order you, now, say the roller skate training wheels line. I'd say, I'll do that, but I'd also like to try it this way. On independent movies, you have more freedom to experiment and be fluid. There's less pressure and there's more oxygen in the room.
Well, that's the thing. You can actually bring your personality to the role and your talent to the role. You're not there just to say lines and look cool, are you?
No, because that's in those big blockbusters, that's all they want. But here, again, because he said this felt more like him, I felt he was injecting a lot more stuff. It felt like a very authentic performance. He was putting a lot of himself into the performance.
Yep. What do you think of the opening of this film? It was so evocative. You know, it opens on that. There's a shot of a river, but it's not a calming, natural shot. It's got that low rumble, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Like, very grey and... Yeah.
Do you know what it was reminiscent of? The opening sequence in There Will Be Blood.
Oh, yeah.
It's very slow, steady. Again, that's the same because PTA with his, like, again, almost kind of rumbling in the score.
Yeah, because what you get from Cage in this opening of this film, did you find as well, it very much feels like you're in a different era almost. You could be in the frontier times.
Yeah, you would never know. You could watch this and think it was like The Revenant.
Yeah.
Because we're out in this wilderness. Cage, obviously, very kind of old-fashioned dress.
Yeah, because we're literally, he lives in the cabin in the woods, doesn't he?
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the woods, yeah. You get this impression that this is a man out of touch with modern civilization.
Society, yeah. Did you see also the film he did a few years ago, Mandy? That was the same. Again, it was like kind of living in the woods, detached from society.
Far more psychotic, though.
Yeah, it was mad money. That picture with blood all over his face, yeah. But it's a similar kind of thing. It's not an outcast thing, but, you know, living out, like I say, outside of society.
No, you get this impression this is a man who's very pushed himself here. He's not been taken here. He himself has fled to this, what he, I suppose, the sanctuary from modern society.
Kind of like a sort of voluntary exile that he's in.